Wouldn't it be great if all of our young students learned how to problem solve, reason, analyze, and work together? This is the way that science research works, and all of our children can easily learn to do this in an enjoyable way. How? Here's just one fun example of what it looks like in a classroom. The teacher asks one student to stand on a chair, holding a simple paperclip. The teacher will then ask a question. Can the class estimate how long it will take the paperclip to drop from their classmate's hand, outstretched to chin level? The students write down these guesses. The teacher reminds the students that scientists like to be very accurate, and in order to get those accurate measurements, we will form teams of scientists within the class. Dividing the class into groups of 3 or 4, the teacher gives each group a piece of paper that looks like this for them to record their trials. The teacher would also give them a paperclip and a stopwatch. Before trying to record their measurements, students should practice as a team so that each member can become familiar with their assignment: the dropper, the recorder, the timer. For this particular experiment, student roles would not change. Once the team has practiced a few times, they are ready to record what they observe. They do this 10 times and record their observations on the data table. The teacher then has the class analyze their results. A brief discussion about how scientists are looking at the numbers to be mostly the same or consistent would take place. At the teacher's choosing, at some point during the lesson, learning these new vocabulary words will be incorporated into the exercise to facilitate their students' understanding of scientific terms. Next, the teacher asks students what would happen if a parachute was added to the paperclip. Then each student group makes a parachute with a simple paper napkin and 4 pieces of string. It would look something like this. Once they have been constructed, teams would practice launching the parachute and then record their times. Again, have the class analyze their results. This time, because the students all made the same type of parachute, the numbers of each team could be compared. In this last part of the experiment, each scientist team would be challenged to change the parachute in some way and predict what will happen to the speed of the falling parachute and paperclip. Predict what will happen to the speed of the falling parachute and paperclip. Would it speed up, or would it slow down? Would it remain the same? Each group can change it in any way they want. Some might add weight, some might cut a large hole in the parachute. Some might opt to make the parachute bigger or perhaps smaller. The important idea here is that students create their own parachute and predict what will happen based on their earlier experiences. They design the experiment. They ask the questions, they get creative, and they take ownership of their learning. And they set about the enjoyable work of exploring and discovering answers. Students test their theory. How did these parachutes fare? What were the results? To wrap up, students should be encouraged to reflect on what they learned and write about it. How did it meet or not meet their expectations? What could they do differently next time? What are the basic science concepts that they learned? So, what has this very simple, fun, and easy lesson taught your students? It has taught them to question, estimate, practice, observe, record, analyze, create, predict, experiment, theorize, test, reflect, and write. Depending on the age of the students, these terms can be taught to them and put a name to their actions. These students of science help us. The study of science helps us to understand and interpret ourselves and the world around us, and to work towards overcoming some of the challenges we face. Along with learning some basic physics laws, and inherent